Welcome to R&R Showtime with Robert
and Ryan.
And today we'll be talking about the season finale of Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know what the last episode was actually called, other than maybe it was called Finale. I didn't really look.
One world, one people.
Ooh, one world, one people. Globalism.
Yeah. It's the future.
Yeah. Yeah, so first impressions, Ryan, what did you think?
I mean, it wasn't the best episode of the season, but it was not the worst episode of the season. I would probably say out of 6 episodes, this was probably my third favorite.
You know, I would say my impression of this episode was, and I feel like I was a little critical of the first 3, and I don't really take back anything I said. However, I think here in this last episode, and I might agree with Ryan that I think the other ones might be, some of those other episodes might have hit some notes that were a little stronger, but I still really enjoyed this ending. You know, I think it just delivered a bunch of things that, you know, I was looking forward to, certain things we called out a little bit and expected to see, and I was really happy with it.
You know, this is sort of what this was my big impression leaving the episode, that in my mind I wanted to compare this to WandaVision, and I thought that this was a better finale than the WandaVision finale. Like, compared to the quality of the show before, I would say that this finale served Falcon and the Winter Soldier better than the finale of WandaVision served WandaVision.
I think I might agree with that.
Yeah. At the very least, the action, the fight scene that capped off the episode, better.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we always look at WandaVision was a different kind of show. And so I think maybe that lends to how it ended in, you know.
Both of them had superhero endings, but the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that action set piece that they saved for the last episode, which I would say is the best part of this last episode, in my opinion, is the whole taking down the Flag Smashers first half of the episode. I think the second half of the episode is a little weaker in some of the resolutions. Some of the resolutions are good, but I probably enjoyed the first half of this episode more than the second half. Whereas in WandaVision, there wasn't a ton of the superhero-iness. Like, it was there, but like, we weren't having full sky battles. And in the finale of WandaVision, we had several big sky battles that sort of took up a lot of the time, and they were just not very interesting. Like, the most interesting battle in the WandaVision finale was Vision explaining philosophy to himself.
Yeah, and just to say, there's something about that in WandaVision. Everything was so fantastic. It all made things a little lesser. Like, for people that have powers like that, the actual action needs to be so much bigger. Whereas with Falcon Winter Soldier, I mean,
it's so real.
Yeah, it seems really real. I mean, it's real-ish guys. I mean, they have some of the, you know,
the super serum and the suits and stuff.
Yeah, but they're still very vulnerable. I mean, it's bullets and guns that can kill them.
And there were a lot of real human lives like in the play. So like when they're like when Bucky's trying to get the people out of the flaming car, or when they're trying to keep that other vehicle from falling off the edge, like in that moment, you're like thinking about, how are they going to save these people? Are they going to get these people out in time?
Yeah, the stakes feel really real and a little higher. Whereas in WandaVision, it was kind of like, all right, well, they're all just basically invulnerable and nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, let's get into the recap and start talking about this episode.
All right. So, to start off this episode, it was basically the end of the last episode. The Flag Smashers are at the GRC, and they're gonna take them down.
Yeah.
And but here to put a stop to that is Sam Wilson, aka Captain America.
Yeah, we see him flying through the air in his new wingsuit, and also, yeah, Bucky's just there. And apparently Sharon
Well,
Carter also just there as well.
Bucky lives in New York, so
Which,
he was already there.
yeah.
And John Walker, presumably, I don't know,
probably is nearish enough by whatever. He was there. He's there because reasons.
and Sharon Carter is the power broker. So,
oh, spoilers ahead. Sorry,
that's not a spoiler. We've been saying it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's just there. So, because again, yeah, they're all there. They're there because they should be, I guess. Sam calls in a. Here's the thing. Okay, we all suspected Sharon was going to be the power broker. I just don't. I guess by the end of the episode, we see maybe why she was doing all this, but I don't know that it all made sense that why she kept helping Sam out. I just don't understand. I guess unless she's so smart and everything was really just to play into her own hands.
Here's the thing. Maybe we want to save this for later, but I listened to a review of this finale, and a criticism that I thought was quite accurate of this show was that the only character arc that was served properly in the show was Sam Wilson.
I mean,
we can get into it, but consider episode 1 that I walked out saying, well, Sam's storyline, Bucky, that's what I want to see. Mm-hmm. And we're at the end of the series, and I was like, oh yeah, Bucky was there, but damn, Sam's so cool.
Yeah, well, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, and I would say in some ways, like we got. Actually, let's just say this for the end. Let's keep going with our reading.
It also just occurred to me that you said it was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That's already a thing.
Yeah,
that was a movie.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about that movie.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're not talking about that movie.
I know, like 6 minutes in. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, sorry. The title of this episode will illustrate it clearly. You all get what I'm talking about.
No. Yeah. Anyways,
yeah, they just get right into it, and we see. Bucky meets up with Sharon. Sam's flying in the air, and we finally get to see this big reveal as the Flag Smashers. They're kind of executing this plan, which is forcing all of the GRC representatives to like move through the building. They have people kind of on the inside. There's one of them disguised as one of the military men.
Here's one of the criticisms that I will have for this. What's their plan? What are they trying to do?
They're getting hostages, and then they can negotiate. But
they're willing to kill the hostages.
Yeah, basically. I mean, Carly sort of says it as her point where she's like, we're either negotiating for them to say to not do this, or we're just gonna kill them, and then they can, they can make a new vote or something. I don't know. It's not a great plan.
No,
it's just terrorism.
It's the plan of a teenager.
Yeah,
but people are following her.
Yeah. So nonetheless, Sam Wilson, flies right through the window, and we get that full reveal of as we even guessed, the not only Captain America suit, but full wingsuit and the shield. So amazing. Excellent. Great. Like stellar.
I've heard some people say that the suit's a little cheesy. I think they'll refine it, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good delivery when I saw him in it.
Well, honestly, to all those people, get fucked. Because, I mean, there's something about Captain America that's just kind of cheesy. So, I think they, in movies like The Winter Soldier, and they gave him a little bit of more of an edge. But Captain America is he's Stars and Stripes anyways.
His costume also evolved over the movies, because they were trying to make him cooler. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So I expect that we're going to see a altered suit by the time Captain America 4 comes out.
I liked it. I like how bright it is. I like that it bright, because I think it almost stands to separate who Sam is as Captain America a little bit. Even though he's similar to Steve Rogers, I think he's more charismatic.
You know what? It puts the real contrast between him and
Walker.
Yeah, which we'll get to his costume later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we Sam busts in and kind of takes down a couple of the bad guys, and then a Batroc, right? The the sort of, I don't know if he's French. Yeah, the French villain guy. They start having a showdown.
Well, so this is a whole set piece. The sort of cap off is with him and Batroc, but there's all the Walker gets in here at some point, and he sort of instantly redeems himself. Like he's just like he walks with Bucky, and they're like having like fun as if he wasn't like, yeah. It's kind of weird. Like they kind of like just smooth past Walker being bad, and he seems like he's on the good side. At like he's fighting with them, and they're just accepting him, and they're not like really criticizing him or anything.
Yeah, so I mean that's just a little bit ahead. So we get the GRC representatives all like being ushered out. We have them being sort of guided into these trucks that are then secured by one of the flag smashers who's on the inside, who's dressed as one of the military men that's guiding them out. During this time, Bucky's kind of going in there. Sharon, they're both trying to get in there to intercept, and Sharon sort of sees him, taking those guys away. She like straight cold hearted, like,
She
gases.
a murderer.
Yeah, she like acid kills this guy, like throws that acid bomb, attaches an acid bomb to him, and when he gets in his car, it just like melts his face off.
Yeah.
So kills him that way. Bucky is outside. What's he? He gets like distracted. He's like having to talk to somebody for a minute or something. He's talking like Morgenthau for a minute, like and just like not being part of the action or really doing anything. Like I think she's purposely distracting him a little bit.
Yeah.
And he kind of realizes that
she sets a car on fire for him to save.
Yeah, exactly. So he's being distracted, and then we have the hostage cars basically going off. They intercept and take the hostage cars and are gonna move them and go take these people away. That is when sort of Bucky intercepts them and Walker. All of them kind of converge, and we have multiple flag smashers fighting Walker and Bucky.
And we also get Wilson, Sam up in the sky dealing with some helicopters. And there's like this cool sequence where he uses Red Wing to spy on the people in the helicopter, find out that one of them has flight training, and he like taps into her like phone or something to tell her, hey, when I tell you take control of the helicopter, pushes out the terrorist, and then she comes in and starts flying it. And it's just one of these, I don't know. I thought that was a neat little thing.
Yeah, it's just displaying Sam's this is almost extra human. His ability, his incredible dexterity and his ability to think quickly and make these really fast decisions that he has to do. Like,
but also his faith in another human being.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He didn't try and just take out the bad guy and then hope for the best. Nah,
Yeah, and it was a smart decision of him as well, and he worked together with people. This is just one of these little moments that shows who Sam Wilson is as a Captain America and as a person, how he wants to handle. He likes to work with people, this community, this like just small moment. I like that you pointed that out.
Yeah, and then but back down on ground, there's one point where Walker is basically chasing after Carly.
Yeah,
and
after he sort of Bucky and the Flag Smashers, they all kind of come to a head where they're sort of beating each other down. Bucky gets like knocked off the side of a building, like down into like a construction area.
Yeah. So, and we're at this construction area, and I can't remember what set up the van to be basically tipping over the edge into like the pit of the construction area.
Yeah.
But Walker's faced with the choice of saving the car or going after Carly, and he chooses to try and save the people.
Which I understand that, for some people might be like, oh, he kind of was like evil and then he wasn't evil. But for me, I think I really think that now in the comics, like I think John Walker is supposed to be like very much like more evil, right?
Less gray.
Yeah, less gray.
This man is very gray.
Yeah, and I
honestly, I think he's on the light side of gray at this point.
Yeah, I think John Walker, again, he had a series of unfortunate events that led up to a bad day. He did the wrong thing in front of the wrong people, but even then, he didn't do something. We always go back to he killed a terrorist, even though it was in rage. If he had done it behind closed doors, no one would have cared.
He killed a terrorist after one of the other terrorists murdered his best friend. It's like he committed a crime. He didn't technically get punished for it, but it's really hard to judge him too hard on that.
I mean, he did get punished for it.
I mean, he didn't like serve jail time. Like he lost his privilege of being Captain America. Oh, and I get the loss of benefits and stuff. Yeah. See, I did think that was harsh though. I think that was too harsh of a punishment.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I feel like he lost again, a man whose his job was to go stop terrorists. And in the end, like the only reason that they did is it's all about optics. Like the fact that he killed a terrorist was not wrong. Because if he had killed a terrorist just in a different scenario and different area where it didn't look bad, then it would have been all fine. Nobody would have even cared. Right. But it was because it all looked bad. It made Captain America not look like a good, and it was, foreign national, maybe not quite the way diplomatically he was supposed to handle it. But yeah, that's all it was.
Either way, we get John basically sort of redeeming his character in this moment. He chose to save people instead of seek revenge.
Yeah. And we know it is made very clear how important it was for him to get his revenge on Carly, that he had this opportunity to chase her down or go after that car. And in the end, we see that John Walker, even though, revenge was important to him and he wanted to have it, he is still good-hearted. I mean, like, it was not, I don't think it was ever a bad choice to pick him as Captain America. Was he the best? Like, maybe not necessarily, but
I don't think, yeah.
But the government, the government did the best to choose who they, could, the best person they could as Captain America. Sam Wilson, we all know objectively, we're watching the show. We know how great Sam is. He's so good and things like that. Captain America gave him the shield. Steve Rogers gave him the shield. But I mean, as far as everything that it would say, John Walker was appeared to be the best choice. And in this moment, we see that he was a good man and he did want to do the best. It's just how I think the responsibility put on him and the way that he had to receive it and how his attitude about it was not what made Steve Rogers a great Captain America. He did not quite have that.
Yeah, he didn't have that je ne sais quoi. Anyways,
but yeah, so John does he basically pulls back and does save these, he temporarily saves them until I think a Flag Smasher knocks him out and knocks him down as well.
But right at the last second, the car's about to go over. Captain America jumps in, flies in, pushes the car up using you can tell that some of it's his strength, some of it's the suit, but either way, his entirety of himself saves the people, pushes it back, and it's just a great moment to behold.
And everybody sees it and they're like, that's Black Falcon. No, that's Captain America. I'm like, yes. My insides were screaming. I'm like, yes, yes, that's Captain America. I was loving it.
All right. And so I feel like from this point we go basically sort of underground-ish.
So I think Batroc fires a bunch of, they do get, I think they have a little bit of a battle down there. I think Bucky was already fighting some guys down in that lower area, but at one point, basically, Sam kind of goes down there and Batroc fires smoke grenades everywhere. So they can't see quite where.
And we sort of get all of our people sort of mixed up until we get Sharon coming across Carly. Basically,
this is after they've followed Sam has a tracking thing and they kind of follow it underground into these sewers or I don't know, whatever they are. And then they all kind of split up and then we have multiple parties in there. And like Ryan was saying, Sharon meets with Carly
and basically has the conversation about how she trusted Carly and basically revealing in this moment that she's the power broker.
Yeah.
And that she had so much faith in her as a whatever she was meant to be, but that things didn't work out. And then Batroc,
Batroc.
I'm going to call him Batroc. He comes up and he basically realizes in this moment that Sharon was the power broker and basically tries to, in this moment, blackmail her, and he dies.
Yeah, and he gets shot. So,
and then Sam shows up trying to basically giving Carly one last chance to turn things around, and she dies.
Yeah. He's trying to reason with her. I mean, again, this is just Sam trying to show he wants to talk it out. He doesn't, he understands why she's doing this and all this and trying to just give her the benefit and not, attack her, not take her down, and just on the defensive. And again, we see this difference in how Sam fights here and how he kind of fights with the shield, is that he uses the shield as what it is. It's a shield in defense. A juxtaposition to Walker. Earlier, when we see Walker trying to battle with him, he is very aggressive. He's swinging the shield like it's a weapon.
Yeah.
And again, that's just kind of the difference here, is that Sam is using it in defense of people, liberty, whatever, symbolically, and John Walker's using it as an aggressor to attack those that, would blah, blah, blah against the, this and that. So there's some cool, interesting thematics, and we definitely see that here with him. And when Sam is kind of caught vulnerable and Carly is going to potentially shoot him, Sharon who actually suffered a wound during, when Batroc was going to shoot her. Carly shot her or something. But she shows up and bam, like takes Carly down.
And so with this, the Flag Smashers plot has been essentially foiled at this point. Oh, series wrap on Batroc and Carly.
Yeah. What was it? We have also at the same time as this is being resolved, the other 3 Flag Smashers that had escaped were, following their little app, their Flag Smasher app to a meetup point, which was supposed to be a safe house or something.
Yeah.
And it's Bucky and John Walker who are literally like, yeah, nice app. They just downloaded the app, told him, hey, come over here, and, had him surrounded by police. So,
yep. Yeah.
Get fucked.
Yeah. All right. So, Sam now has this opportunity to basically face the public as Captain America.
Yeah. And he straight comes out like a fucking Jesus figure, like, wings coming down, carrying Carly's body, now surrounded by some of the GRC representatives and cops and news people
and the press,
and regular, folk all watching as he comes up and just give this emboldened, amazing speech about how we should work together and
it's what's impressive about it is that it's not fully a monologue. He's having dialogue with multiple people, like he's listening to what they have to say, but he's giving them a perspective that none of them have. And it's one of these things where I don't want to try and sum up what he has to say. It's better to watch it because his words are more powerful coming from him than they would be from me. But yeah, it's sort of the real shining moment where in this moment, like if you didn't already feel it, this whole show was meant to get people to sign on board that this is Captain America now. This is the scene where, he is Captain America now.
Yeah. And I just thought it was awesome. Like, I think it was just it really displayed, Steve Rogers always kind of displayed this, this leadership element, but I wouldn't have ever said that he was like, I wouldn't say he was the most charismatic necessarily. He certainly like was appealing and had a charisma of his own, but it wasn't, I think Sam displays like almost just a difference in how he delivers like this, like well-worded message and how he really works with these people and together. And I think that's how he's like always shown throughout the series. It's a little difference in him and Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers just believed in his ideals and he just stuck to what he believed and always like championed it, and people followed him and believed in it because of that. But it's not like he was the person that would like discuss or like reason with people. He still was kind of a, he wasn't an aggressor, but he definitely
he thought with his gut.
Yeah.
He did what he thought was right.
Mm-hmm. To the point where, I mean, like, cause we can even say that in Civil War, where he was like, I don't think this is right. And instead of like trying to come to a more of a mediation or trying to discuss how they could arbitrate this a little bit, he was just like, I'm not going to sign it because this goes against what I believe. Yeah. And he just, went the opposite direction. Whereas I think Sam, as a new Captain America in a similar situation, just as a example, he might have been more like, no, let's work out how to have the best issue and not just make this a binary sort of thing. And I like that is another example of how Sam's his own different and brings something different to Captain America. And I like it.
Yeah. And one of the notable things about what he has to say is that he's basically defending the Flag Smashers cause. He's basically arguing, hey, this happened because of you guys. This is not Carly's fault. This is your guys' fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this teenage girl wouldn't have been able to do all this if people didn't support her.
Yeah, exactly. And people supported her because her cause was in some ways just, even though the means to the end weren't necessarily good. And that's always been Sam's point. Their point, their end was something that anybody could get behind. And, he makes some good points also about how, the government say like, oh, we can't do this and that. And he's like, you are the literally governments. You control everything. You can literally make anything happen you want. Which speaks to almost something, in definitely a bigger message for real life, where it's like the governments of the world can literally just make anything happen that they want to do. Like, they are the governments. They have all the money, all the control, all the everything. If we want to change the world, like, there just needs to be people in power that want to make the right changes.
Exactly. But what ends up happening though is that Sam's speech is talking, it works, and he basically gets Carly's wish, her goal to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and they postpone the forced relocation of peoples and basically gets the GRC to start taking a different tact. And in a way, the Flag Smashers, maybe their ultimate goal hasn't been reached, but it's progress in their direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's yeah, I would say that is a good thing. And those Flag Smashers that got arrested, they die.
Yeah. They're put in a van to be sent to the raft, and Zemo's butler basically makes sure that they are dead. They're blown the fuck up. And they were also probably not going to go to the raft because there was this little moment where,
like I saw like the
one of the soldiers was like one world, one people. So we were like, oh, they're going to escape. And then it was like, nah, bro.
boom.
Yeah, explosion, boom. So, Zemo, even from the raft, like pulling strings and getting what he wanted, which is make sure there was no more superheroes, no more, he's trying to.
Yeah, the only people with super serum are Bucky and
John Walker.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah. Sharon probably has some.
Mm-hmm.
Someone strapped to a table somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I have, I have a feeling that the super soldier serum isn't probably gone forever now.
Probably not. All right.
So following all these events kind of settling down, we have like a few resolutions with each of our different characters. So we have Walker is in a, court state house with
it appears to be the same courthouse that we've seen a few times
with Contessa blah 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 Fontaine, what's her face, and his wife.
Yeah.
And they're waiting, and out comes, and many people that know the comics probably would recognize it. He comes out in a black uniform, a black Captain America uniform, and she renames him. What seems when she said, I mean, we all know that he's supposed to be this because of the comics, but it just seems so like it's just a blab moment. U.S. agent, and but he's jacked. He's excited to be,
and his new black suit really stands in contrast with the much more white now Captain America suit.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, like, I think it suits. I mean, him. He was a soldier, and now he's the U.S. He's a super strength U.S. agent, and yeah, he's Captain America is a symbol. U.S. agent is a tool. So
yeah,
and yeah, that's
a tool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much John Walker's, wrap for the series. Good for him. He's kind of like at least restored to some position again, and
yeah, it's an interesting thing. He's definitely positioned to not have to be a bad guy. I mean, he's probably gonna be, but he doesn't. He sort of redeems himself in some ways, and he's still, in a way, likable. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see what happens with him.
I think we have a setup for like a Dark Avengers. Like again, we see it like Zemo, right? Like villain, bad guy, right? Definitely did some bad things, but it's all about like your means to your end, right? Like John Walker might, have the ends might be, some kind of overall good goal, but like, how does he get there? What does he do? Is he more willing to do dark thing? Again, is he, U.S. agent?
I think Miss Fontaine is where we're going to have some interesting stuff. Maybe this is going to be Captain America 4's plot with him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so series wrap on John Walker. While we're at it, series wrap on Zemo with him in the raft, seeing that the people were killed.
Yeah, so I think after this we have
Bucky, who was it this episode or last episode that he visited Nakashima?
No, it's this episode.
This episode? Okay.
So right now, he basically goes to this is where we get him. He goes to Nakashima, and he, has a hard moment where he tells Nakashima that, his son was killed, and it was by the Winter Soldier, and the Winter Soldier was him. And we don't get a lot of
no,
this.
yeah. That was yeah.
It sort of like ends a little bit quickly where we see, like Bucky has a hard time. He's kind of like that. He's almost like tearing up. He's kind of like having a hard time telling him, and Nakashima has like a hard time receiving it a little bit, but that's kind of just it. And then, then
he just sort of walks out.
Yeah. And that's basically it. He walks out.
And then later we see him walk by the restaurant and see the lady he went on a date with and Nakashima there. And he just sort of smiles
Yeah,
that
and
things are
Nakashima
better.
seems in decent spirits. Like he's
Yeah.
having like it looks like the girl he went on a date with is like pouring him a drink,
Yeah.
and he seems in decent spirits, which you can see that maybe he's has a little bit of peace now.
Yeah.
We understand that he had said if he ever just knew what happened to his son, it would have brought him some peace. And yeah,
I just felt it a bit questionable to not play out the scene.
I kind of thought so too. I wanted
Especially like it was one of those things set up in the first episode that like we're gonna get this and it's gonna pay off well, and maybe they couldn't figure out how to write the scene. That would be my only guess, because like I know that it would have been a very powerful scene. Especially, I think Sebastian Stan could have really delivered. He delivered with the little bit that we got of it, and I think it could have been a lot better had they played it out. I don't know why they didn't. And
yeah,
that it leaves it feeling a bit cold. But he's able to deliver his finished amends notebook to his therapist. Yeah.
Yeah. And say, hey, thanks for all your help, Doc. He loves her a note. And
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much and that's Bucky's resolution. He finishes maybe his last making amends and truly makes amends. And we hopefully see that Bucky's maybe going to move on from most of the Winter Soldier and everything that was holding him back. And yeah, so there's that.
Series wrap on James Buchanan.
He does technically show up a little bit after this, but that's basically it. That's it. Bucky's done.
Yeah.
So, and so after this, we have Sam visiting Isaiah Bradley. And we had, while Sam was making his speech, it was being broadcast. It was on the news, and we had clips that showed Isaiah Bradley saw these things, and he was a little. We could see in Bradley's face that he was a little, like there were some positive feelings about what he was seeing.
He was a little
Sam.
moved. He was impressed. I think is the biggest thing.
And so Sam shows up to sort of like meet with them and talk with them a little bit, and and Bradley still kind of has this feeling. He's like, all right, hey, you're something special, man. Like maybe you're right. Maybe you can do something with being Captain America, but he still kind of doesn't, he's still just a little stoic about it. Still, he has his, valid reasons to, not quite want to fully buy into it.
But Sam has other plans in store for Mr. Bradley, and takes him on a trip. Him and his grandson, nephew, something.
Yeah,
like
whatever.
That. Yeah. Takes him on a little trip to DC to the Captain America exhibit, where Sam has been able to have a Isaiah Bradley basically section of the exhibit added in to make sure that people know his name.
Yeah.
And Isaiah Bradley is able to walk in. It's reminiscent of I'm sure there have been scenes of people like walking into like an exhibit and feeling overwhelmed at their work or their efforts in life being recognized. But one scene that it in this moment kind of reminds me of is, I don't know if you've seen the Doctor Who clip of him taking Vincent van Gogh to a modern day Vincent van Gogh exhibit to basically see all the appreciation for his work, because in his life, Vincent van Gogh, no one ever really paid him much mind, but like nowadays he's seen as one of the greatest artists of all time. And it's this very moving scene of watching this man portraying Vincent van Gogh, hearing people like talk about him as one of the greatest artists ever. And it's sort of, this scene is sort of reminds me of that, in the sense of this man is basically feeling like so much of his life he's been forced to feel like no one appreciates him, like all of his work, it was for nothing. And in this moment he really gets to he's being recognized. And not only that, but his friends are being recognized, because there's pictures of all of the other people in his unit. Yeah.
And I paused the video because I wanted to read it. And that plaque literally says the whole, everything you need to say. That it recognizes that there were, Black African American soldiers that were injected and experimented on, and some of them died and some of them survived, and the ones that survived were sent on missions, and that Isaiah Bradley specifically, saved not only a bunch of his men but a bunch of prisoners of war during that time, and that for like it really says the whole thing. It makes sure that it's all known, like his history is all known. And I was like, well, damn, yes, like this man deserves it. And yeah, it's touching. Bradley, has a moment. He embraces Sam, and it's
So I said earlier that I liked the first half of this episode largely more than the second half, with the exception of this scene. I think this is the best scene of the episode, arguably one of the best scenes of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like Sam's like talk. I think it was like awesome, but it's powerful just in the emotion of it, and
it's very raw emotion, which can be very effective to me. So I think it's a very good scene. And then after
that, it's like they go back to Sam's sisters for like they're all like having a party and like hanging out with people, are taking pictures of Sam because they're like, oh, good now. Yeah, Bucky shows up with like a cake, I think.
Yeah, there is a cake. I remember seeing like this store-bought cake. I'm like, all right, Bucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you don't expect him to bake a cake or anything, I guess, but
like it still has the plastic on it.
Yeah, so I'm actually blanking on exactly how it all ends up there.
I do too, but more or less.
Yeah, there's a party. They're like, yeah, good stuff. Everything's
Sam
happy.
Wilson, Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America.
A series wrap on Sam Wilson, and credits roll.
And mid-credit scene. We have
Sharon Carter before that same court.
Yep, and they're like, Sharon Carter, for your service, like, we apologize for not having blah 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 you before, and we want to give you a pardon and invite you to come back and work at the CIA again. And she's like, hell
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
Yeah, super love it. Great, thanks guys. And then she walks outside and is like, what's up, dirtbags? I got all the CIA secrets. Like,
we're selling them.
Yeah. So, and we're just like, all right, cool, great. Yeah, you put the power broker in the thing, and awesome. Like,
which, quite frankly,
is great. Honestly, that just is going to be a lot of conflict.
A lot of conflict, but also is probably one of the better moments of her character. I was like, all right, this is who she is now. Mm-hmm. Like, this wasn't all like wasn't just being the power broker because she was wronged. She has become the power broker.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, it's like, I don't know why she wouldn't just, it's like, maybe, she was a noble person at one point, but again, she spent 5 years building this whole network and basically like, building up and becoming this significant person after having been spurned, and nobody until, she had to go and perform this new service, and Sam Wilson had to put forth for her. And
Sam Wilson had to keep asking her for her help, before he actually went ahead and got anything done.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying, maybe, if I was in a similar position, I don't see why I wouldn't do the same thing. She's now in she's a power broker. She's now in the best position to broker even more power than before.
Yeah, no, I'm more excited for the future of Sharon now than I probably was before.
Yeah.
But series wrap on Sharon Carter and a series wrap.
Yep. And that was it. So I guess we'll move into any other talking points. And one thing I want to say, and you started getting to it with the Nakashima sort of like that ending quickly. And there's a lot of things that I fit with this, is that I think the series could have used just like one more episode to flesh things out.
Okay. So I mentioned earlier that the only person whose arc is well satisfied is Sam Wilson's of like the main cast. Because so Carly basically gets like a Daenerys Targaryen arc of, you kind of like her until she's just like, yeah, she's just all bad. You weren't supposed, she was never going to be redeemed.
Yeah, she was supposed to be noble and stuff, and now she's just bad.
Yeah. Which at the same time, she was also like her sidekicks were always like, at the end we're like, oh, we're gonna kill them, and like, yeah, that's what she was saying before, but now it's like, what's even the point of it? Yeah, Carly, I think, is kind of underserved. In the review I was listening to, they make the point that there's too many threads, there's too many things going on, and not enough time to resolve them all in a satisfactory way. Because think about it, we have Zemo, we have the Power Broker, we have the Flag Smashers, we have John Walker, Captain America. While it's great to have Zemo there, and while it's nice to have Sharon be brought back into the fold, this could have been played out with just John Walker and the Flag Smashers, and it would have been a probably tighter narrative, probably could have given more time to develop John Walker's arc, who is really just like a more or less good guy, who maybe has some scrupulous morals, has one day where he messes up, and then we see the sequence of him building a shield like he's gonna get his revenge, and then he doesn't get the revenge, and he was a good guy.
Yeah, and I want to also say, like, in this final in the final fight scene with John Walker, he's just getting like he's not like doing very well. You know, like, which kind of sucks, because this is like, I almost feel like, you know, he tries really hard. He's like, he makes that good decision, and then but like, he was just getting tossed around. Like, they literally were just like stomping him out on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, and it's just like, oh man, come on. Like, I don't know if they were trying to like make him seem like he's not the good Captain America, so Captain America wouldn't get all beat up and stuff.
But it also makes him like a less intimidating villain going forward if they're going to make him a villain.
Yeah.
Or a less useful ally if he's going to be an ally. Like, his character gets kind of underserved. But yeah, the Bucky thing I think is kind of,
and the Bucky thing was definitely where I was like, why didn't we get a little more of this? Like, this should have had just a little bit more. Like, I wanted to see like Nakashima like have a little more reaction. It was literally just like him looking for a second, getting a little sad, and then Bucky's walking out. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
What else happened? That was it? Like,
look, I get Falcon is the focus of the show, but it's and the Winter Soldier. And in that first episode, we got they planted threads for the Winter Soldier to be an interesting character, and Sebastian Stan is a powerful actor. Like, he does a good job with what he's given, but he's just kind of, yeah, like, I feel like a lot of his arc is even in a way fulfilled off screen. Like, he makes his amends off screen, which is kind of disappointing. And in a way, like, his arc is almost like just being inspired by Sam instead of being inspired by Steve.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think, to your point, if they had sort of like minimized all these things that they were trying to do, might have lended the series a little more. But again, if they just gave one more episode, like if they had just spaced some things out in those middle episodes, give them a little more room for things, and give them a little more room to end things. Like, they could have, I don't know how you would edit it and do everything, but I'm just saying, like, they could use just a little more space to have added more to the series to make it a little more complete.
Let me be clear here. I agree with you, but also Zemo is one of the most interesting characters because he's a great actor. Happy to see him in this show. Did he need to be there?
Yeah, you're right. No, he didn't. They did just kind of put him in there, and I think they were just positioning him for later stuff.
Did the Wakandans need to be there? They were only there because Zemo was there. They were there to get the suit, I guess. But
yeah, they were just literally that function. But yeah, couldn't have Bucky just been like, "Hey, Wakandans, I need to call in a favor"? Like, he could have just made that same call, even if they weren't introduced in the series.
Yeah, and maybe we would have. I get that there's little threads. This show could have been written to be more tight, or it could have been given more time, an extra episode or two. I recognize that 6 episodes at 50 minutes long puts it probably at about the same runtime as WandaVision was in total. And maybe an extra episode would have made it longer than WandaVision, but look, I think it warrants it. I think WandaVision probably could have used an extra episode too to kind of smooth out some of those resolutions, or I don't know.
I will say one thing I think that Disney understands that we like, since Disney has now this, massive and complex crafted and put together, a whole multiverse of superhero movies where all these things exist now. Like, all the worlds are together. We've seen Infinity War and Endgame. Everything exists all in the same realm. I think they and I think as an audience, I do also like to see all these different things brought in together. We like to
Yeah.
see like those characters brought from here
I mean,
and there.
after Endgame, it's hard to not have things all come together.
Yeah.
But you still need to serve your narrative. And like, if you throw a person in there and it's fun and it's cool to see them, that's cool. But like, if you make them out to seem like they're going to be an important part of the story and they're just there to serve some functional purposes like Zemo or like Sharon Carter, but they don't really feel like they go anywhere other than they move from point A to point B and they get some of their stuff that they want done.
I still think, I mean, maybe they could have been done better. However, we do get a lot. Zemo becomes a character that you like. You know, you were interested. You're like, wow, I really like.
Zemo, yeah.
So they gave enough to flesh Zemo out and make it when they bring him in somewhere later. Now we have it now, and which doesn't give enough credit to some people that they don't watch all the things, they don't want to watch the show, but maybe they will watch the movie. But hey, if you're not watching all the content and then you feel like you missed something later, well, I mean, get fucked. Come on, like you got to be a part of the whole experience if you want to really understand everything.
I'm not saying that Zemo shouldn't have been there. I'm saying that the way that they structured it, he didn't need to be there.
Yeah. So, and if they had one more episode, they could have just given us a little more with each of those characters to make it feel a little more in place. So,
yeah.
Do you have any other points that you want to go over?
Not really. No. Let's maybe give overall like opinion of the show as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like maybe letter grade or a number score. What would you give it?
I want to give this show a B.
I think I gave WandaVision either an A or I assume I gave WandaVision an A. I'd probably give it around a 9.5, or I'd give it like a 9-ish point score. I would give this like maybe a B or I'll give this a B.
Like I would actually, for me,
8.5.
I would put, it's actually really tough because these shows really did give me something different. And this show, I felt like going into it, it was going to give me something I would enjoy it a little more. And the fact is about WandaVision, those first 3 episodes just were like kind of like okay and led up to, they only mattered once you got to episode 4. The first episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier became better once we got to episode 3 and it kind of picked off like those first 2, but they still were like solid episodes in and of themselves. Like I could watch them and was like, okay, cool, we're doing some stuff, things are happening here. And
I think looking back at those first 3 episodes, they seem better, but consider after episode 3 we were so uninspired that we didn't even record a podcast on it.
I don't know that it was that because we were uninspired. It might just because we didn't make the time, but you may have a point in and of that.
And coming out of the first episode, I was kind of lukewarm. Coming out of the second episode, you were kind of lukewarm. I think those episodes, again, in retrospect, are probably feel better to me. Whereas, and again, we're going to have different opinions on it. WandaVision, the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, I went in expecting that more or less. And so those episodes all sort of fulfilled their needs and they gave me a little bit of mystery to figure out what was going on, that when we got the payoff, it felt very good to me. I don't know. I think the biggest problem with WandaVision was the finale. And I think the biggest problem with Falcon and the Winter Soldier isn't the finale. And so getting to this last episode, I feel better about the show as a whole than WandaVision ending sort of lacklusterly.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoyed the entirety of WandaVision more.
It's hard to really, say, but basically at this point, I feel like each of them offer something different, and they basically are equivalent in my mind. Like I'll give them both a B or like a B+. I don't know that these are like A, like they really just hit it out of the park for me. By the end of WandaVision, like, WandaVision, right, and midway was like stellar. In the beginning was like meh for me, and by the end was also was the middle of WandaVision was like 10 out of 10. The beginning was like 6 or 7 out of 10.
So the
ending was like 8 out of 10.
That second to last episode, I think, is going to hold up to be my favorite episode of the show, particularly because of my favorite scene in the show. It's a very popular scene where they talk about grief and love. Mm-hmm. So it's a show See, I stayed up until midnight to watch the WandaVision finale. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that. Like I think I watched the finale of WandaVision as soon as I could. Whereas with this, I don't think I saw it until Saturday. You know, I waited like the whole day or something to watch. No. Actually, that's not true. It was Friday, but still, I wasn't like, you know, I had a spare, you know, hour, and so I watched it then. I might not have watched it if I hadn't found that extra hour.
Yeah,
and it doesn't say anything about the series. I still enjoyed it. It's just I wasn't, you know, hooked into seeing that finale quite as much because I almost there in some ways the finale was somewhat predictable. Like I saw how some things were already going to go. WandaVision, there was still a lot like you wanted to see how it would get resolved, and
yeah.
so, but
And part of the problem with WandaVision is that it didn't resolve a lot of things. It left stuff open. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier resolves more things.
yeah, definitely, it definitely resolves a lot of things. It leaves some things open. I will say that is that Falcon and Winter Soldier resolves things in a clean cut way, but also leaves us some things open for what they will become later. WandaVision just leaves things completely open ended and doesn't resolve them at all.
Yeah, people are like in the middle of their character journeys, but I think, and in that way, I think these shows serve different purposes. I think WandaVision, the main purpose of WandaVision is to establish Wanda as this as she goes forward to establish I can't remember her character's name, but like the Photon, the Captain Marvel's friends.
Photon, Captain Marvel's friends? Photon?
The what was her name?
Yeah, Photon, whatever. We can call it Photon until we remember.
Yeah, but her character, to establish that as a character, and yeah, it's basically to establish for future projects.
Yeah.
But they managed to put like a important narrative into it. Whereas I think the chief goal of Falcon and the Winter Soldier was to make Captain America.
Yeah. So
because I don't think that maybe Disney had the faith to go from Endgame and just make Falcon Captain America and expect people to just buy into it, which I don't think they're necessarily wrong there. I think some people would have been hesitant to it, and I think this show does a great job of, yeah, that's Captain America.
Yeah, 100%.
Give me my Captain America movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to seeing this Captain America movie now. And yeah, I think Disney did a great job doing that. So
yeah. So in that way, they both serve their purpose, and I'm sure Loki will serve its purpose when we get that in a little over a month. But in the meantime, I guess we'll be watching the Bad Batch.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We will be talking about the Bad Batch as well. So for you Star Wars fans out there,
I mean, unless it's awful, but
that's just not. That's not going to be awful.
Yeah.
Will there be a lot to talk about? We'll see. You know?
Yeah. But so maybe we won't, but I think it's going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have more Star Wars.
Yeah. Thank you, Disney, for just keeping it rolling. Like, you know, we have to wait a week to see these new excellent, you know, Marvel and you know, if Star Wars is going to be that break in between, I'm totally fine with it. You know. Keep it rolling. Give me something to look forward to at the end of the week. It's like I'm a kid again, and I'm actually watching cable and waiting for things to be released. You know?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was actually really sad looking at Wikipedia. Like, okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is done. What's my next Marvel fix? And it said Loki in June and Black Widow in July. And I was like,
yeah, we would already.
But then someone mentioned that Bad Batch is coming in May. And I'm like, okay, cool. We get some Star Wars.
Yeah. I was gonna be missing it. I was jonesing. I thought we were supposed to get Black Widow in May.
Yes.
And that got delayed again.
Yeah. So we have Black Widow in July, I believe. I think Shang-Chi is September. Eternals is November, and then Spider-Man in December, which cramming 4 separate Marvel movies into half a year.
Let's go. I'm so with it.
And then I don't know if any of that, I'm not looking at the Sony calendar, but I don't know if any of that includes Morpheus or Morbius. What's the Jared Leto?
Morbius. Yeah.
Morbius.
Yeah.
I said Morpheus. I don't know when that's coming out, but that was on the slate. Venom 2 is still going to be a thing.
Mhm.
So these are things to be excited about.
I am excited this year. What a way to bring up 2020, the year of nothing and no barely any movies, to come into just a straight like everything, mainlining the Marvel all
like we
year
have
long.
Marvel TV like giving us the first half of the year, and then
Mhm.
Marvel movies for the second half.
Yeah. Marvel TV much better though. I guess it's Marvel TV. You're getting decent little fixes every week, but then when the Marvel movies come out, it's gonna be like all at one time.
I want to see Black Widow. I want to see Florence Pugh become the new Black Widow,
or the old Black Widow be the new Black Widow because they had a face swap, and all that time it was actually Black Widow never really died because her sister died instead because she became her sister. Conspiracy theory.
Look, Scarlett Johansson, you're cool. I want Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's about time. So until next time, folks, this has been Robert.
And Ryan.
Have a good one.
Yeah.